Every day, 2 million people count on us to get to school, to work, to where they need to go, and back home again.
Transit's the way to go.
You don't have to sit in traffic.
Fast, convenient.
Without the bus, I'd be stuck.
Our region is built on mass transit. The CTA, Metra and Pace were created more than 70 years ago to replace private rail, streetcar, and bus companies that went bankrupt. Private investors were replaced by government investors. And despite inheriting aging equipment, inaccessible stations, worn track, and old trains, they helped the region grow into a premier hub for freight, banking, and commerce. Today, our regional transit system is the second largest in the nation. We serve Chicago and 277 municipalities in 6 northeastern Illinois counties.
Yeah, I take the train every day to work.
It's just relaxing. It just makes things easier, really.
Public transit benefits all of us. It enhances lives by letting riders talk, text, read, work, or just zone out while someone else does the driving. It attracts businesses, jobs, and increases property values. Did you know that in Chicago, properties within 2 blocks of transit are more than twice as valuable as those further away? And public transit saves money, even if you don't ride. An average of $400 a year for rush hour drivers, because it reduces the number of cars on the road. But now, it's all at risk. Our systems are large and very old. 31% of our buses and trains are beyond their useful life. Safe to ride, but costly to maintain, and aging faster than we can replace them.
Doesn't the government pay for all that?
In theory, however, the state hasn't passed an infrastructure bill in a decade. For years, funding has been wholly insufficient to operate and maintain your transit system. There's too little local support, state dollars are rapidly diminishing, and federal funding hasn't grown significantly for years. It's time to act. It's time to invest in transit. Investing in transit means making your rides even better. With projects like an overhaul of hundreds of CTA rail cars and building a new maintenance shop to replace the one that's been in use since the 1890s. Projects like the replacement and repair of 61 Metra bridges, some made of timber that are still in use. Projects like the purchase of 412 new Pace buses to replace aging ones that have reached the end of their useful life.
Now that's getting our money's worth.
We have big goals: to deliver value on our investment, to build on the strength of our network, and to stay competitive. That's why transit needs new sources of funding.
I thought fares pay for transit.
They just raised the fare, so I don't know where it's going.
Actually, fares only cover about half of each ride. The system was designed as a public-private partnership. The plan was, because it benefits everyone, riders and taxpayers would share the cost. So each ride is funded by sales tax, the state, and a little from local governments. Problem is, those sources are not very reliable. Recent state funding cuts are one of the reasons why we've seen fare increases and service cutbacks. We need funding we can count on to keep providing the rides you depend on. With funding, we can design and build projects efficiently. Without it, projects are stalled, prices rise, and we may never leave the station. With funding, we can deliver fast and reliable service. Without it, we risk breakdowns, slowdowns, and service disruptions.
Doors closing.
And with funding, transit stays competitive, something that's getting a lot more difficult as riders today have more and more choices. Because we need transit. It's the backbone of the Chicago region's transportation network. It's the most affordable, equitable, and dependable way to ride. It's why investing in transit must be a priority.
Well, it's a priority for me. I have to get to work.
For my life, it's a priority. Transit is a priority, yeah.
I'd pay more if I didn't have to be packed in like this.
So would I.
With new funding, we can continue to do what we do best. Save you time and money, getting you where you need to go. It means planning your ride will be even easier with real-time travel information, mobile payment apps, and enhanced trip planning information. We can keep ridership growing.
That's awesome.
That works for me.
So how much are we talking?
We need a stable, dependable, dedicated annual capital investment program of $2 to $3 billion per year over the next 10 years to protect and preserve the transit system you depend on.
And how much are we investing now?
Not even half.
Not even half. Wow.
A new capital investment plan for the Chicago region is overdue.
I don't see how we can afford not to do it.
It's time. Time to act. Time to invest in transit. Because transit makes life better for all of us.